Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 10.2 has been amazing so far, and it introduced a whole bunch of new features and systems, but that also means a lot more things to keep track of, and that's where add-ons can help you out. Add-ons can really change up how you interact with the game and make your overall gameplay experience better and smoother. They can help you track important events or currencies, help you improve in dungeons or raids, or just make your interface more user-friendly. So we've put together a list of must-have add-ons for patch 10.2 and Dragonflight in general. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. One of the best add-ons you can get for 10.2 specifically has got to be the Plumber add-on. This is a must-have add-on if you're doing the Emerald Bounty events specifically, which are a great source of flight stones and Drake crests, so if you're an open world content player, these events are definitely something you should be doing. Plumber is going to do a few cool things. When you walk up to a bounty event that has not been planted yet or started, it will pop up with the 3 types of seeds and how many of each you have, so you don't need to go digging through your bags to find your seeds. It also changes the contribution UI so it doesn't block your view of the plant. You can see how it's growing and what the contribution rate is, and it's just a prettier visual overall. And then it will also track any active Emerald Bounty events in the zone. When you hover over the event, it will show you how long is left on that event, its current contribution level, and how many dewdrops and seeds you have to contribute. When an event is completed and you weren't there for it, it will also show a little flower icon that looks like the lootable cache that you get, so it holds the location of completed events too to make it easier to pop back to them and collect your loot. Being able to track the position of multiple events at the same time and keep track of when they end makes it so much easier to get your first 5 seeds done for the rep bonuses and to just constantly farm flight stones and Drake crests. So if you're taking advantage of the great Emerald Bounty rewards, be sure to get the Plumber add-on. Another tracking add-on worth picking up is World Quest Tracker. This one will clearly show you all of the available world quests for the zones you're looking at, and it makes it easier to see what each one rewards. You can also filter by rewards to hide anything you're not interested in, so if you want to specifically farm reputation, or gold, or gear, or whatever it might be, World Quest Tracker makes it much easier to see what each world quest is going to reward, where the world quests are, and what might be worth completing on your map. Now before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Displate. Displates are one-of-a-kind metal posters designed to capture your unique passions. They're sturdy, magnet-mounted, and durable enough to last a lifetime. They have both branded and artistic artwork with over 1 million designs to choose from, including games, movies, anime, nature, and environments. You name it, you're sure to find something that fits your style. The unique magnet mounting system lets you put up your displates in just 20 seconds with no drilling involved. Just wipe the wall with the provided clean wipe, stick on the protective leaf, place a magnet, and put the display on your wall. It's that easy. Displays also ship worldwide within 4 to 5 business days, so you barely have to wait to get your hands on some awesome designs. They're also eco-friendly. For every design sold, they're planting 1 tree. Right now, Display is celebrating Black Friday. During this event, you can get the best discounts throughout the year. Use the link in the description or the discount code KALANI to get 35% off 1 or 2 displays, 39% off 3 or 4 displays, or 44% off 5 or more displays. It's the perfect time to decorate your space in style or pick up some early Christmas presents. Now getting back to the video, while we're talking about tracking stuff on your map, an absolute must-have map add-on is Handynotes and Handynotes Dragonflight. This add-on will mark your map with all sorts of icons to track rare mob and treasure locations, and includes any notes for the special ones that require a puzzle or an item for you to loot, just to make sure you can never get lost. They also list out which rewards each treasure or rare can drop. The add-on will mark which rares you have already looted everything from, and then there are various other icons like dragon glyphs, important vendor locations, portal locations. It's a fantastic add-on that helps you pinpoint things on your map. I always have Handynotes installed, and I update it as soon as I can in every patch. Next up is Postal. I get so annoyed whenever Postal gets turned off or I didn't keep it up to date because it makes sending mail just so much easier. It gives you a drop-down menu to send mail to any recently mailed characters, all of your alts, your friends, and your guildmates. Finding the right person or alt to send your mail to is so easy, and you don't have to type in any names or remember names. It's great. Maybe naming most of my alts some variation of Kalani with a special character wasn't all that great of an idea, but Postal lets me keep them all straight and send my mail to the right character, so it all works out. There are a whole bunch of other features in here too, like being able to send anything used for a profession, like sending all the cloth in your bags, or all of your cooking mats, or all of your ores with just one click. That's pretty neat if you send that kind of material to a specific alt all of the time. Moving on, we have Manuscripts Journal. This add-on adds a new section to your collection tab called Manuscripts, and it will show you every dragon riding customization manuscript available in the game, sorted by the Drake for which the customization is for. You can see which ones you have collected, which ones you have not, and if you hover over them, the add-on will tell you where you can get the ones you're missing. So if you want to collect all of the options to be able to customize your dragons however you want, this is a great add-on for tracking that specifically. Now, an add-on that I was just recently introduced to is called Talent Tree Tweaks. This add-on gives you a lot more functionality to the talent tree system. You can change the opacity of your window so you can see what's happening behind the huge talent tree window, and you can also resize the window, so if it's too large for you or you want it to take up more of your screen for some reason, you can resize it to your liking. It also shows you how many talents you can play around with above each talent gate, and you can change spec without having to swap back to your specialization tab, and each of your talent setups will have a fun little mini tree so you can quickly see where your talents are changing. Whenever you inspect a character of the same specialization as you, it will also highlight the differences between your two builds. Green talents are the ones that they have that you don't, and then red talents are the ones that you have and they don't. So you can quickly see if someone is running a different talent build and how they differ. If you love tinkering around with your talents, this one is a must-have for sure. I would also encourage you to look into a nameplate add-on. The new default nameplates are nice, but they can always be improved. You can add a lot of important info to the nameplates of monsters or characters, and the best add-on I've found so far has got to be Plater. You can track spell casts, buffs and debuffs, highlight important spells, and change how your nameplates look based on a wide variety of variables. The best part of Plater is how customizable it is. You can spend all day tweaking things to be just right. It's insane how many options there are here. If you don't want to get into the nitty-gritty, you can also just import a profile from wago.io to cut out all of the legwork. I always start by importing a nice profile and then tweaking one or two things to fit my preferences. It's much faster and you usually end up with a better result anyway. Something else that I think is very important if you're wanting to track and improve your performance in any role is a damage meter. My personal favourite is Details Damage Meter. It has a lot of different options and customizations, and it's also very accurate and breaks down your information in a clear, concise way. I know a lot of folks don't like damage meters and they blame them for toxicity in groups, but unless you know what your numbers look like, you can't really do anything important towards improving them. If you can't measure it, you're not going to be able to improve. Whether you want to compare numbers between different talent setups and various types of content, or fine-tune your rotation, or just see how you're doing, a damage meter is going to be super important. They are also invaluable in group play. Whether you're running dungeons or killing bosses in the raid, it's important to know where you can squeeze out some more DPS or where healing gets tight, so you can switch things around if you are struggling on a boss or encounter. Maybe you need more add damage, maybe more AoE damage, maybe that one rogue has decided that he can stay on the boss and ignore the priority add that needs to die or the raid blows up. You can quickly identify problems and address them to give you a better chance of victory. It's very frustrating that people use damage meters to put people down because they are one of the best tools to help people improve. Another add-on that is a must-have in group content is a boss timer. I personally use Bigwigs and Littlewigs, but you can use DBM if you prefer. Boss timers only really have one job: to show you which abilities are coming next in any encounter, whether it's a raid or in dungeons. These timers allow you to prepare for mechanics and abilities, so you can be proactive instead of reactive. That one simple change of behavior can be the difference between struggling in LFR bosses or breezing through heroic. There's a reason why these add-ons have become so ingrained in World of Warcraft. They make a huge difference. So if you're planning on doing any higher level endgame content, be sure to pick up a boss timer add-on. Now perhaps one of the best add-ons for group content has to be Premade Groups Filter. This add-on is a lifesaver when it comes to joining groups for any kind of content. For dungeons you can filter by group composition, or you can tick the group fit button to only show listings where your entire group can join. I usually always queue with Nadara, so we can't join any groups that already have a healer. You can't take 2 healers into Mythic Plus. Strange, I know. But the group fit button removes any groups with a healer from the list and only shows us the groups we can actually join. You can also filter by dungeon if you're looking for something specific, and it really just cuts out all of the noise so you can join a group for something you want to do instead of scrolling past all the groups you either can't fit into or just don't want to join. You can also see the Mythic Plus score of the leader of any group, and the group composition is clearly marked and color coded so you can see what classes are in each group without having to hover over it. For raids, there's a little less functionality, but you can still sort by difficulty, number of bosses killed, and group composition to help you find the right group for you. If you plan on doing any Mythic Plus keys this season, I would definitely download Premade Groups Filter. Another great add-on for Mythic Plus dungeons is Astral Keys. Astral Keys will give you a lot of great Mythic Plus information like the current week's affixes, your current key, your weekly best run, as well as the keys that your guildies currently have and your friends as well. You can see what your guildies have been running and how high they have pushed, so if you want to run a specific key, you can see if a guildie has that key and then you can reach out to them to set up a group up for later. It's worth noting that if you have the Details add-on that also has a key tracker built in, if you type /keys in chat, it will bring up a list of everyone and their keystones as well as their Mythic Plus ratings, so that's a nice alternative if you don't want to install another add-on. And then I would also pick up Angry Keystones. The main reason I use this add-on is to provide a bit more information for the in-dungeon timer during a Mythic Plus keystone. The default UI doesn't give you a lot to work with, and it doesn't even include the timer cutoffs for +2 and +3ing your key. There are a variety of ways in which you can improve the in-dungeon timer experience, but Angry Keystones is one of the easier methods, and it's a much better experience when compared to the default UI in my opinion. And then the last add-on in this list can be quite complicated to set up and get into, but if you put in the time, it can change your entire WoW experience. It's hard to describe just what Weakauras can do because it's so flexible and so powerful. A lot of people use Weakauras to track uptime on abilities or buffs or debuffs, or create entire UIs that track everything you could want for your class or spec. They can be used to track raid abilities and cooldowns, the spells that every monster in a dungeon will cast, and which ones are dangerous. You can use Weakauras to replace UI elements, it can highlight key debuffs on raid frames, display almost any information you want on screen, and something that I get asked about a lot, the circle around my cursor that I use to keep track of it, that's a Weakaura. It's actually kinda scary what Weakauras can do, and it seems like the dev team is in a constant arms race against add-ons like Weakauras to make sure they can't do too much. Now, creating your own Weakauras is a very complex process, but thankfully there is a huge repository of Weakauras over on wago.io. If you need a Weakaura, someone has probably made it and uploaded it there. It's a great resource and can help you in a wide variety of ways. This next one isn't really an add-on, but it's still a super useful tool and resource. Subcreation is a website that takes a whole bunch of log data and compiles it into an easy-to-read website. It's split into Mythic Plus, Raid, and PvP, so you can look at the data that you're most interested in. For Mythic Plus, it breaks down which dungeons are easiest this week and how each tank, healer, melee, and range DPS seem to be shaping up. You can also sort this page to look at data for just this week's affixes, or all affixes, or even specific affixes to see how each dungeon changes, or how each spec performs as the affix lineup changes. That's really neat, but if you click on your specs icon, it takes you to a page that breaks down what those players are using. So you can see the most popular talent setups, what gear people are using, what crafted items or embellishments are popular, trinkets, rings, gems, enchants, everything about how a player sets up their character. And then you can also filter all of that information by dungeon to see how things change on a by dungeon basis. Now over on the raid side, it's the exact same thing. You can see how each class and spec performs across the board or on specific bosses, and then look at all of the same info. Popular talents for each boss, gear setups for each boss, all that jazz. There's a lot of info here, but it is a great source if you're curious about how the best players are setting up their characters. And then while we're talking about external resources, we may as well touch on Raidbots. Raidbots lets you compare gear options and tells you which pieces are the best for your character. You can compare gear that you already have or look at your best drops from the raid or dungeons. There are a few other options in here, but the top gear and Droptimizer are what most folks will make use of. You are going to need the Simulation Craft add-on to export your character string, so make sure you pick up that one as well. With that add-on installed, just type /simc in chat and you'll get this big string that you need to copy. Paste that into Raidbots and it will update with all of the gear you have in your bags, on your character, and even in your Great Vault, so you can compare your weekly vault options before picking one, which can help make those important decisions a little bit easier. Simming your gear takes all of the guesswork out of it. You don't have to worry about what stats are supposed to be the best, or if you have too much crit or too much haste. The sim will take care of everything and tell you which items are best in which situations. If you want to min-max your character and make sure you have the best gear available to you, you really have to sim it with something like Raidbots. Now, for all of the healers out there who wish they could sim using Raidbots, there is a website that works for healers called Questionably Epic. It's usually recommended in various healer guides and works in more or less the same way. Get the SimCraft add-on, get your SimC string, plug it into Questionably Epic and play around with the settings. You can sim top gear, trinkets, item compare, best embellishments, find upgrades, the same kind of stuff as Raidbots, but it's for healers. As with all of the other resources, I will have a link for you in the description below. And then the last thing I want to touch on is where you can get all of your add-ons and how to keep them updated easily. There have been various apps over the years, but my personal favourite for Dragonflight has been Wowup. Wowup is lightweight, it covers a wide variety of add-ons, and it's really easy to use. You can update add-ons quickly or look for new add-ons without a problem. The only downside is that you need to install Wowup for CurseForge and Wowup for Wago.io. They are different libraries, I guess, so they cover different add-ons, and having two is a bit weird, but it's worth the hassle for how easy they make it to keep on top of updating your mountain of add-ons. The CurseForge version seems to cover almost everything, so if you're looking for a new app or way to update add-ons, give Wowup a try. But that's all of our must-have add-ons, as well as some very useful resources for 10.2 and Dragonflight. Are there any add-ons on this list that you're going to download and try? Are there any add-ons that you think are a must-have that weren't on this list? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members who are on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description of the Patreon or click the join button just below this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.